Hey, welcome to Pro Mindset today. This is your host, Craig Domann. I've got a special guest here today, Zach Round. Zach, welcome to Pro Mindset.
Thank you so much for having me on. Glad to be here.
Okay, so Zach, I don't know if I can do it justice, so you're gonna have to share with the audience the full picture. But you are a brain tumor survivor. You have an unbelievable story. You've gone through around 17 surgeries. You've been an athlete. And just to kind of share with the audience, I'll start it by saying that you were mountain biking in California, where you live, and you had a little accident, and you got a helicopter ride to the hospital. And through that experience, unrelated to your spill, they found a tumor at the
Mhm.
base of your brain. So why don't you share with the audience kind of the facts behind that and your version of the story?
Yeah, so I was in a mountain biking accident on January 16th of 2017. I was out riding with my friends and I took a normal ride or what was supposed to be a normal ride and that turned into a nightmare. I took a road gap near the end of my ride, didn't make it, and that led me to getting helicoptered. And the helo ride actually took me in as a trauma patient to the helicopter. Sorry, since I was helicoptered into the hospital I was going to, they took me in as a trauma patient. And as a trauma patient, you have to get a full body CT head to toe scan. And that's what revealed the mass in my brain. And without that CT scan, I would have never known that I had a mass in my brain. And an MRI later confirmed that it was a brain tumor. So it was completely found by what I call a blessing in disguise. I don't know if you're religious or not, but that's what I call it, and that's what I think that happened. And from then on, I had a series of surgeries, and things never just quite went the right way for me. Everything just went opposite of what I thought would happen.
What did you think what would happen and what did happen? Give an example.
Yeah, so in my first surgery, I thought I would get the first surgery done and it would be kind of routine, just remove a brain tumor and get back on to normal life. But what really happened was I got bacterial meningitis that led to hydrocephalus, that led to kidney stone problems. Uh, I had double vision from the main surgery. I had balance issues because my surgery happened in my cerebellum, which is the center of balance and coordination in the brain. So everything just didn't quite go right.
Okay, so what was going through your mind when you found out that you were conscious, obviously, when you got to the hospital? What was going through your mind when you found out you were going to have brain surgery because of the tumor?
So at first, I wasn't aware that I had a brain tumor. Since this did happen when I was a pediatric, they only told my parents first. So my mom and dad, they knew, and they were kind of trying to hide it, but I knew something was up. And then that's when they told me the news, and the things that went through my mind was it was just unbelievable from going from a normal, perfect kid to just like you're about to die. You literally have no hope in that moment. And you're just like, oh my gosh, like this is the worst thing that could possibly happen. Why me, you know?
Did you have any symptoms of balance and coordination issues prior to the accident?
No, I did not. I was completely asymptomatic. The brain tumor was just growing, and I had zero clue what was going on.
Gotcha. Um, can you take us back to the day, and there may be multiple of these days, but the day that was the hardest, the day that you were like, man, I don't know if I'm ever going to get back. Um, and what was going on with your condition and what was going on in your mind?
Yeah, the day that I would probably say is the hardest, the one that I can remember, just because I can't really remember a lot because my body or your body has a mechanism to like forget stuff that's very traumatic. And most of this experience was, but the day that I can remember that was the hardest was the day after I started a new medication to get rid of the bacterial meningitis. So the reason that it was the hardest was because the medicine was like breaking apart the spores of the bacteria, and that was causing my body temperature to rise. And I had a fever of 107 degrees at that point, and that is kind of the point to where if you go a little bit higher, you kind of have no return and you're just going to die. So it was very difficult because A, it was painful. I was super hot, and it was just a terrible like the whole situation was just so bad for me, and I couldn't really like grasp around the concept of it.
Did it, I mean, not that any of us have been boiling in water, but did it feel like you were slowly cooking when you were going through that process? And what did they do to counteract it? I mean, did they put you in an ice, an ice tub? What did they do to help you?
Yeah, so the way to combat that is they had a cooling blanket, and this is kind of a weird way to do it, but it's almost the only way to do it. So your center point of where your temperature is read the most accurately is up the butt. That's why you have the like the when they take temperatures of the little kids, they take the thermometer and they do it through their butt because in the rectum, that's where you get your temperature the most accurately read. So what they did was they put me on a cooling blanket, and that cooling blanket had like a little sensor, and they had to stick it, up my butt in order to know whether or not to cool it down even more or even less, because that was the most central point of getting my temperature.
Got it. Okay. So what are some of the simple things that you take for granted today that you weren't able to do when you were in those bad moments? Were you able to walk? I mean, things like that.
No, I was unable to walk. So from my first surgery till about 6 or 7 months after, I was not able to walk at all. Um, the right side of my body was just completely just devastated after the first surgery, and I wasn't able to eat, wasn't able to read, wasn't able to write. Um, I got double vision. I was just in a very bad state at that point, right after the first surgery.
Okay. So you said that trauma sometimes helps you um, forget or lose your memory about certain things. Of what you do remember during that bad time, where did your mind go to deal with your circumstances?
During that time, my mind, it kind of went in a place of just kind of, how people get like motivation out of a breakup or something. That was kind of a similar situation that I had. Is I kind of like I recently went through a breakup at that time, so my mind was kind of on the like you're gonna regret it train, and then also my mindset was like you can't give up, you have so much to live for, like you've got to be able to like push through no matter what and find strength and just no matter what it is.
What was your motivation um, in those dark times? What was the thing that kept you going when, maybe even your parents would look at you when you're laying in bed and not even be able to be optimistic because of the condition you were in? How did you find positivity, perhaps when even the doctors and the nurses in your family didn't?
That's a great question. Yeah. So the way I found my positivity and the way that I got through it and my motivation was not only looking forward to life after I got out of the hospital, but looking forward to playing football. I can see it in your background. You have a football picture. I'm assuming that's of you when you were in college.
Long time ago, yeah. in
Wow. Yeah.
college.
What college did you attend?
I went to the University of Kansas, the Jayhawks. They're known more for basketball, but
Oh
we
yeah,
went to a
no,
bowl
the
game when we were
great
there.
program. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. But yeah, so the thing that got me through everything was I was looking forward to mountain biking after. That was something that I did before and after my brain tumor. Playing football was something I did before and after. Not only playing football, but playing rugby. That was something I played before and after my brain tumor. So getting back to normal life and getting back to being the more physical self of me and being able to do it kind of helped me go through it. But also, it was the fact that knowing if I got through this, what is my story going to be like after? It's going to be a very inspiring story because right now, like, this is me in the mind of the hospital. I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going through the absolute worst of it. And if I pull through it, what is my story going to be like? So that was something that helped me get through it. And that was it just helped me motivate me.
Okay, let's talk about before and after. Let's talk about your story. What was your story before the accident and before you found out you needed brain surgery to remove that tumor? And what is your story now?
Yeah, so before my story was pretty simple. I was a varsity starter for football at my school. I was kind of popular. I had a girlfriend. Things in my life were up. They were going really good. I was playing rugby. I was just doing a bunch of athletic and sporty stuff. And I was really, really happy. And then the brain tumor happened, and I had to work my way back into playing football. I had to work my way back into playing rugby, into mountain biking. So my story hasn't really changed that much from before and after. I really just kind of had like a bump in the road, so to say, with my story. But I'm still doing the same things that I would do before, just in a different manner and different way.
Okay, so I'm going to challenge you, Zach. You are not doing the same things now that you did before.
Okay.
You would have never been on my podcast before. You
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be making the impact that you're making on people that are struggling to go through the same situation that you went through or a similar situation that you went through. So I think that your purpose is much bigger today than it was before. Is that
Okay.
fair?
Yeah. That sounds pretty accurate.
Yeah. So it's like you're on a mission now. You were just going through life before. You were
Mm-hmm.
just being a normal kid, going to practice, hanging out with a girl, hanging out with your friends, doing things.
Yeah.
And today you've allocated, now of your life to get on this podcast to share your story. That's not something that was in your story before.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So what is the impact that you want to make now that you didn't think about making before?
Yeah. So the impact that I want to make now is just how a positive mindset and a never give up mindset really can take you farther than anything can take you at all. Like, you can be the richest person ever, but if you don't have that never give up mindset and you don't have a positive outlook and positive mindset at what everything is, then you won't be as well off, or you won't even make it to where you can be if you have that positive mindset and that never give up attitude.
How does somebody get a never give up mindset? I mean, how do I get it? Let's say I want it. Let's say I need it. How does it show up? How does it show up in the morning? How does it show up during the day? How does it show up when I have to do something that's really hard? How does it show up when I'm facing a situation that I didn't even want, that I
Hmm.
didn't even know I had, didn't even know, didn't, it's not fair.
Yeah,
How does it
exactly.
show up?
So how the never give up attitude shows up is you've got to look at it a certain way. You've got to look at your situation a certain way and be like, okay, this is going to be hard, but you can never give up because you always have to know that it will end one day. Whether you like it or not, the circumstances. It will end one day. So, for instance, with me, I was going through my brain tumor and I was in a terrible spot. I was very uncomfortable. I was miserable, right? But it was going to end whether or not I made it through or I didn't make it through. It was going to end. So you've got to know that deep down inside, it's going to end, whether you like it or not, whether it comes to death, whether it comes to just getting through it like nothing happened, whether it goes on, you've got to know that it will end one day and it will be over. And you are going to have an incredible story to tell after that, or you're just not going to be in that place of misery anymore.
Okay, so what is your purpose now compared to before?
My purpose now would be spreading the mindset and the attitude that you need to never give up, spreading the purpose and the mindset of having a very positive attitude when it was super negative. For me, 17 surgeries, you would think that I'd be very negative, like I'd have a very sour attitude towards life and not enjoy life. But I'm very grateful and very positive that I went through 17 surgeries. Yeah, that's the price that I had to pay. But it's also looking at the bright side. I have a second chance at life. I never would have thought in a million years I would ever be in the situation to have a second chance at life. But I am in a second chance at life. I'm able to go through my second chance at life and I'm able to fulfill what I should have done in my first life. And even though it was more of a mistake in my first life that I had, I'm able to go through it and kind of fix those mistakes that I was doing before. And I'm able to learn and I'm able to grow as a person through that second chance.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's crazy how life sometimes can take the toughest circumstance
Hmm.
and make it a blessing because it changes the direction of your life. It enhances the purpose of your life. It allows you to make an impact that you wouldn't have otherwise had an opportunity to make, but for that. So let's go back to
Yeah.
positive. Okay, how in the heck what's your formula for being positive when you're in a shitty situation, when you're in a negative situation, when you're in a situation you just want to get out of? How do you remain positive when most people can't?
Hmm. Yeah, it's there's an analogy that I use, and it's the analogy of the storm. You can use it for a problem, you can use it for your mindset, you can use it, it's pretty versatile. So you imagine a storm, imagine it being negativity, right? You have a storm, you have it come in, it causes destruction, wreaks havoc all over everything. It's just like, it's very chaotic, and it looks like there's no bright side. Eventually, like I said earlier, the storm will pass. Everything will come to an end and it will pass. But after it does, what happens after a storm is you get this calmness, this peacefulness, this tranquility, and everything's just like, whoa, like it's all serene, it's all cool, it's beautiful, everything is awesome. But also, if it, like, say the storm destroyed something, you get rebuilding, you get growth. Like, it's a beautiful time that it takes a very negative thing and it comes to you and it gives you a positive. You know, maybe you're building a let's say for instance you're building a YouTube channel and you got 100,000 subscribers and you make a bad video and it breaks you down. But those followers that you had, those were mostly fake or they were just going after what you wanted to do. Say that your mission for that YouTube channel was to build it to follow your message, but people were only following you for the things that you did. Then if you got your YouTube channel and it broke down and you were just like, "Oh my gosh, this is bad." But you really think of it and you go, "Well, those people just wanted to see me for uh mountain biking, so to say. Say you were doing that and people just followed you for mountain biking, but you wanted to spread your message. and people were just following you for mountain biking, and all those people left, you're like, oh my gosh, this sucks. My views are down. Everything is going wrong. But you look at it on the bright side, and you go, oh my gosh, this actually happened. So people who wanted to hear my message, they stay, and I continue to spread my message no matter what.
Okay, let me regurgitate back what I heard you say from my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Storms, nobody wants to go through a storm.
Correct.
And storms are very uncomfortable when you're going through the storm.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they're unpredictable. A lot of times they take things away that you didn't want to be taken away. And after the storm's over, there's typically a rainbow. Not all the
Mm-hmm.
time, but there's a rainbow.
Yeah.
But at minimum, you have authenticity with what's left, whether it's followers, whether it's a building that, hey, the majority of it was torn down, but what's left was a strong foundation. Whatever's left was meant to be there. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
And so when you go through storms, it gives you an opportunity to reset. It gives you an opportunity to reevaluate, double down on your commitment, double down on your purpose. Okay. Is that a fair representation of what you said?
Yeah. That's fair. That actually could be a more clear and more understanding way of saying it than how I did. I felt like I kind of gave more of a word salad version of that, and I tried making it wordy. That would be more of a simpler, like, kind of better way to send that message across. Yeah.
I think both of us said it the way we were supposed to say it. Okay. I
Okay.
think, though, the perspective is everybody wants to avoid storms.
Mm-hmm.
But the message that you're saying is that storms can have a positive result.
They can, yes.
Okay. Let's talk about this second chance for life. How has that changed your patience? How has it changed your perspective? How has it changed how you treat people? How
Yeah.
does it change how you face adversity now?
Mm-hmm. The second chance at life really gave me more of a, like, empathetic approach to life. It allowed me to put myself in other people's shoes in an easier way and kind of understand their situation easier. And it's kind of given me more of, like, a humanitarian view of life than what I was before. Before, I was all numbers, statistics, live on your own with your wife and kids, do whatever. Just, like, kind of live off grid and whatever. Now it's more just like, I want to go out there. I want to inspire people. I want to help people who are going through tough times. I want to kind of be that voice for those people who don't really have a voice. I want to spread the message and spread the word that is of me, that has given me hope. And I want to be more of a humanitarian kind of person and kind of help people out more.
I'm going to give you a shot, and I'm going to put you on the spot. Okay.
All right.
You do have an opportunity to inspire people. Given the
Mm-hmm.
storm that you've been through, a lot of people wouldn't have made it. And so you did make it, and you've said that you want to be humanitarian, you want to serve other people, you want to be empathetic. Let's say we just met,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm in a hospital, and I just found out some bad news, and I'm facing a series of surgeries to get myself back. And it might take 2, 3, 4 years before I get back.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell me?
So I would tell you, it's very cliche to tell you never give up. But that would be one of my points, is never giving up, because you never truly know your outcome if you never give up. If you give up, your outcome is, it's set. You're gonna fail no matter what if you give up. So if you don't give up, there is no telling you what that outcome can be. And my story was a pretty good outcome from coming from 17 surgeries. I never gave up, and I had probably the best or one of the best outcomes that you could possibly get. And coming from me personally, the lifestyle that I live, it's not horrible. Can it be better? Yes, but I'm gonna work as hard. What you should do is work as hard and never give up to make it the life that you want your life to be, that you can have. So you should never really give up, first of all, and then also be the one to defy odds. Be the one where they're like, hey, you have a 1 in 100 chance of doing this. Be that one. Be that one person to be like, okay, 1 in 100, and I'm going to be that one. I'm going to live through this. I'm going to do it. So you should never give up, defy odds, and be that one. Just always be that one.
I love that, man. I love that. Okay,
Thank you.
so I'm gonna fire that back at you. I heard you say, and this is how I received it, is that if you want the best possible outcome from a bad situation, you can't give up.
Mm-hmm.
If you want the best, you can't
Yeah.
give up, right?
Yeah.
And the other one is an identity thing where why not you? Why can't you be the one? Somebody's going to be the one. If there's 1 in 100, 1 in a million, doesn't matter. Somebody's going to be that one. Why not you? And I think that comes down to it's a pro mindset principle of owning your worth. You got to own
Mm-hmm.
your worth. You got to believe that you're here for a reason. You have to believe that it's maybe bigger than the reason you thought it was. And you got to be okay with the storm, maybe working you over a little bit so that you can become the man that God created you to be so you can make the impact that you're here for.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Everybody that's inspirational, everybody that's impactful, they've overcome adversity.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that haven't faced adversity just haven't lived long enough. It's coming.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not everybody's going to get a brain tumor, but everybody's going to have something.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Everyone's got their own story. Everyone faces adversity in unique ways and in different ways, and adversity is adversity at the end of the day. There's no comparing adversity. I know some people have, but there's no comparing it. Adversity is adversity.
Absolutely. One of the things that I talk about in pro mindset is everybody does have a story, and everybody really has a multitude of stories. You have your pocket voice that is the one that talks to yourself. So when you were at the hospital, when you were coming through surgery, maybe during surgery, you were having a subconscious conversation with yourself. Definitely when you came to, you were having a conversation when you could speak to family members, but you were also always in this loop of talking to yourself. You're laying in bed with your eyes open, you're conscious, and you're having a conversation. What
Mm-hmm.
was that conversation like?
That conversation with myself was one more, just one more, right? One more day, one more minute, one more hour. Just make it to the next one. And if you can make it to the next one, what's one more after that? And what's one more after that? And one more and one more. And then before you know it, it turns into 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, 20 years. So that small, just one more. That for instance, I mountain bike when I'm climbing. Just get to that corner, right? What happens if you just get to that corner and then you're there, and then get to that corner and then get to that corner, and then before you know it, you're getting through like something that you hate, and then you're just like, oh my gosh, I can get through it. I can face this challenge and I can actually get through it.
What you just described is momentum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how you get momentum. Just one more. Just one more. I just got to do one more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you gain momentum. And then when you get momentum, what typically happens is your confidence goes up. Your belief goes up. everything that you want more of goes up when you get momentum. It's like
Yeah.
everybody jumps on the momentum train and it carries you.
Hmm.
But like when you're in a standing stop, you just answered the question, how do you get started? How do you get
Exactly.
moving?
Hmm.
Right? It's the one more.
Yeah. And I definitely could see the momentum train going on now that I look back at it actually was because before it was just me that believed in myself and then, you know, very early my parents they hopped on and my doctors they hopped on and then some of my friends hopped on and then more and more people just started hopping on as I started getting better and better and better and I definitely could feel like that sense of community growing as more and more people were coming on that momentum train.
That's outstanding. Okay, let's go back to when you were the only one on it.
Hmm.
What was the genesis? What was the root cause of your belief? Why did you believe when the doctors were not given a lot of hope? Why did you believe when maybe even the people that love you the most, that wanted you to make it the most, were listening to the doctors and all the long odds?
Hmm.
Why did
So
you believe?
yeah, the one thing I believe that this goes back to religion, but I had faith and I had hope and I had trust in the Lord to get me through what I went through. I knew that if anything was to happen, it would all happen for a reason and God would get me through it. And fortunately enough, He did, and He helped me out. And I will never be able to repay that debt. I feel like it just is this massive thing that He helped me through, and I'm so grateful that He did. And after that first little, that first little bump, just got me rolling, and I started getting through it.
Okay, how has your faith changed before and after?
Yes. Before I was Catholic, I was baptized, but I wasn't really I was like going through the motions. I went to a Catholic high school and that was the school I was at, but I was just going through the motions. I wasn't really like actually believing. I wasn't really like actually like reading scripture and reading the Bible and I wasn't doing a lot of active things. I was just going through the motions. And after that whole situation happened, it kind of opened my eyes to be like, oh my gosh, like this all happened for a reason. This all happened because of him. And like, I, there's just no way to explain what happened besides through that. And I'm just like, I, I've got to now. Like, I've got to like do this stuff now. Like, this is true. And I need to do it. I need to become closer to God and just like thank him.
Well, one of the things that I believe is that he doesn't want us to pay for the debt. He wants us to pay it forward, and
Hmm.
you pay it forward by serving others. Um, when you said your eyes were open for a reason, looking back now, being closer to God, what is that reason?
I truly think that reason is to spread a message of hope, to spread that never give up, the like the hopeful attitude, but also spread his word as well. Like, yes, I went through something difficult. Yes, I went through something that no one I don't wish this upon anyone. No one should ever be able to go through this. Like, I don't want people to go through this. Like, this was terrible, but the like when I talk about this, I lost my train of thought. um Crap.
You
What
were
was I gonna say?
you were sharing the message of hope
Yeah,
and spreading
so
His word.
oh yeah, yeah. So the reason that I feel like I'm still here today is to spread not only his word, but the message of hope and kind of that positive outlook on very negative situations.
Okay. Have you had an opportunity to help anybody in the last couple years that has been in a desperate situation.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
That was hopeless.
Yeah. There are people who I help out. I don't post it on my social media for just like the sake of keeping it just out of the pure intentions of my heart. I work for a couple of charity organizations. I try to help as many people as I can on the side. I know my dad's friend, he was sick. I would help him out in that process. I would kind of just do a bunch of charitable work and philanthropic work. So I definitely would like to do more, even though I am doing stuff right now. But I have done stuff in the past.
Have you had an opportunity to write a keynote or to do a book or anything like that about your experience?
So far, I have not had an opportunity to get a book published. I've had that thought of maybe I can become, a speaker. So I've worked on speeches before. I've had the thought of a book. Maybe this will be good. So I've written down all of what happened and all my thoughts in a book. So I do have that somewhat ready. I just don't have like a ghostwriter or a publisher, or I don't have the connections yet in order to be able to kind of fulfill that.
One of the things that most people miss when they want to write a book is they don't have their story. You've got your story.
Hmm.
Now you've got to have your purpose because of your story, right? And we've been
Yeah.
talking about that for the last 30 minutes or so. Okay, so you can do that whenever you want.
Hmm. Yes, I can.
All right, you can,
Yeah.
right? Not everybody, if you write a book, not everybody's going to read it. Doesn't
Oh no.
matter.
Yeah,
The right people will read it,
exactly.
right?
Hmm.
Okay. Um, I'm going to advocate for be the one. That's your title. Be the one.
All right.
There's many titles that would fit your situation, but I love the be the one.
Okay. Be the one.
Be the one because it applies to, everybody in less drastic situations than you were in. They
Hmm.
may be one of three finalists for a job. Why can't you be the one? It's
Exactly.
like there's going to be 10 people make the basketball team. Why can't you be one of them?
Hmm.
Right. And so I think our brain has a tendency to navigate towards the negative and go, oh, probably not me. Oh, probably the first guy that doesn't make it. Oh, I'll probably be the second choice. No, why can't you be the one?
Exactly.
Okay. Is there any questions that you would like to answer that I didn't ask you?
I'm sorry. Can you rephrase that again?
Yeah. Is there anything you wanted to mention today that I didn't ask about? Anything you would like to share?
Um, Not off the top of my head. No, I don't think. I mean, I don't know how well you could understand me. The right side of my face is paralyzed. There's that I haven't mentioned. Um, that I probably should have, knowing that I'm talking and everything, and I probably should have mentioned that. But
You absolutely sound fine to me. I could hear you and understand you the whole
okay,
time. So
all right, sweet, thank you. Yeah.
I wouldn't have known that if you wouldn't have said something.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. I've had a couple of facial nerve reconstruction surgeries in order to get my face as good of looking as it is right now. Before it was bad. It was like drooping down and everything was like just not looking good.
Well, wait till you get older. I look the same way. It's like you're just trying to stay fit, trying to stay shape. Um,
You look great,
you
by the way.
know, Father Time gets you from time to time.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I want to do, Zach. I want to challenge you
All right.
today to go be everything God created you to be. Go do what you feel like in your heart is your mission moving forward, and
Hmm.
to reframe your circumstances, your pain, your surgeries, your rehab, your negative outlook from the doctors, as a rainbow. That's your rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you're more in touch with your purpose now than you ever would have been but for that storm.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way that you can really live life, impact people, be inspirational, and just go be what you think you should be and what you feel like God's calling you to be. And the world will try to hold you back.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Culture will try to keep you down.
Mm-hmm.
This is your opportunity. Go be it. Go do it. Go write that Be the One book. Finish your keynote and get out there and share with people the hope that you had that got you through the tough times that a lot of people need so that they can go through their tough times. Challenge accepted or not?
Challenge accepted, yes.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for being on Pro Mindset today. It's not every day that you have a guest that has been through what you've been through, Zach,
Mm-hmm.
and come out better for it, more purpose-driven than you ever were before, with
Thank
the
you, yeah.
opportunity to make a bigger impact than you ever would have before. So I
Mm-hmm.
just want to say God bless you and go have a great time living out God's purpose.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for having me on. God bless.
Thank you. Hey, it's Craig Domann, the host of Pro Mindset Podcast. I want to thank you for listening or watching today's show. And you can catch us every week on the normal social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and all the listening podcast platforms. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And more importantly, I hope you gained a pro mindset insight. Please be sure to rate and review Pro Mindset Podcast. And I look forward to catching up with you on our next show.